Hey guys, it's Lindsay from the blog Repurpose and Upcycle, and today I want to share with you a fun project. I've taken it back to the basics. I'm going to talk about how to whitewash this wooden crate with just latex paint, water, and a paintbrush. There are so many different ways to get that whitewashed wood look, and there are so many products out there to use today. I've lime waxed a coffee table to give it that whitewash look. There's pickling stains, like stains that actually sit on top of the wood to give it that whitewashed look. There's different products. There's waxes you can use. You can even paint a solid color over a piece of furniture or a surface and then use a dark wax to give it that whitewashed look. I did that with a piece of like a laminate surface to give it a whitewashed look. My point is there are so many different ways to whitewash that they can really get confusing. And today I'm going to show you the old basic way to whitewash with latex paint, water, a paintbrush, and a lint-free cloth. Let's talk about materials for a minute. You had the surface that you want to paint, and as far as that goes, my opinion is the best wood to whitewash is pine because it really shows that white finish. But most of the projects that I've whitewashed, I've used like a red wood because it tones down that red and orange tones in the wood. So grab your piece of furniture, then you need paint. Like I said, I'm using just a white generic latex paint. And then you're gonna need water. I am mixing 1 part water to 1 part paint. And this depends on what kind of finish you want. If you want a more solid white look, then mix 2 parts white paint to 1 part water. If you want the wood grain to show more, then mix 2 parts water to 1 part white paint. And this is something you just have to play around with until you get it right. So I'm gonna mix my solution. Just pour my water in here and then stir it up real good to get it smooth. And this is the basis behind the whitewash, and this is where we get that term from, because obviously we're mixing water with paint. Like I said, in the past 10 years there have been so many products where you don't have to do any mixing. You just buy the product and it gives you that whitewash finish. But today we're just going with the old school way to whitewash. Okay, so once I have mixed that really well, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can use a lint-free cloth and dip it in there and just wipe the surface, or you can use a brush. This is actually a chip brush, but you could just use any generic brush to do this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the brush to wipe the surface, and then I'm gonna use my lint-free cloth to wipe the excess away. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. So, dip it in there. I'll show you over here. And a lot of how the finish is going to turn out is going to depend on the wood. So I strongly suggest that you test a piece first before you dive in and you paint the whole thing. So after I've tested a little bit, I stand back and I look at it, and I like the way it's looking now. I don't feel like I need to rub any excess off. Now this wood has not been finished with anything, so it is soaking up my solution big time. So, but if you had a lot of excess on the surface, you could take your lint-free cloth and just wipe it. And the beauty of this is, if you don't like the finish, if it's too light, you go over it with another coat. If it's too dark, you just wipe it away. Make sure you wipe it while it's wet. And at the end of the day, if it's too dark, you can always do a little sanding to bring back the wood tones. And I'm wanting this to look a little more white, a little more finished. So I'm not going to worry about wiping away any of the excess because I want it to soak into the wood. One thing to note and keep in mind while you're working is, especially with a whitewash, whenever you've added water to the paint, the wood is really going to soak it up. So what it looks like when you put it on is not necessarily what it's going to look like when it dries. Because you see how white that looks here? Well, this is what it looks like dry. So don't necessarily think that just because it looks really opaque and you can really see the whiteness, that the wood grain isn't going to show. So I love the way this looks. I think that this might only take one coat. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the entire surface, let it dry a half an hour to an hour, and then take a look at it. Another quick tip, always paint in the direction of the wood. And if you have any areas like this, I can see I'm getting some drips. I just take my lint-free cloth and just wipe it. But once again, wipe in the direction of the wood. And this wood is a little different than the slats. So always keep in mind that different types of wood are going to soak up the paint a little differently. So the sides might require me to wipe them down, whereas the slats won't. Okay, y'all, I've got the first coat down and I'm actually really pleased with how it's turning out. I love it. Looks like pickled wood on that side. That turned out beautifully, but this is a different type of wood than the slats. I think I forgot to do one more area, which is right here. I'll do that real quick and show you guys I'm almost finished. A friend of mine gave this to me because she was going to get rid of it, and I kept it for a while, and honestly I almost got rid of it because I thought, what am I going to do with it? And I'm so glad I didn't, because it doesn't hurt to always have a crate to put shoes in, especially for my kids. They dump their shoes everywhere. So a little bit of whitewash, and this thing looks like a whole different piece of, I don't even know if you want to call it a piece of furniture, but it kind of is. I mean, it's functional. It's a cheap piece of wood. You need to make sure after you've painted it that you wipe it, and wipe in the direction of the wood so it looks like it's really part of the wood. So after you're done wiping it, I'm going to let it dry for at least a half an hour to an hour, and then I'm going to see how I like it and if I need to do any more. Hey guys, I am done. It's dry. I love the way it looks. I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to spray it down with some polyacrylic, that is a sealer, to really seal it. And I'm going to put some hardware on the front, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Hey guys, it's done. What do you think? I really like it. I think it turned out great. I used Gorilla Glue to attach the cabinet pulls to the front of this, and actually I like it so much I think I'm going to use it as blanket storage. I'm not going to put shoes in it anymore, not for now at least. I hope you enjoyed this quick video on how to whitewash wood. If you did enjoy it, I would love for you to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks guys.